stand on forget about the mandates that people have to have their freedom, but at the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. Actually, it ended the First World War because the soldiers were so, a lot of people don't know that. The soldiers got so sick, it was a terrible thing. There were no vaccines, there was no anything. I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines, all are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how.
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
What about the masking of children?
Well, what about something else? Because I don't like this stuff you're saying. What about something I like? How about that? So that's Candace Owens a few days ago talking with Donald Trump. Now, they talked for a while, including there was more about COVID. So I want you to rest assured that he said plenty of insane things about COVID that do fit in with her worldview. But JR, in that clip, what he said was largely coherent, largely rational. He acknowledged that while yes, more people have died this year, it is predominantly people who are not vaccinated who are dying at far higher rates. That's true. I was honestly shocked. Not that he said that vaccines are good. He's done that before, and we've given him credit as much as it hurts us to do that. But that he then doubled down, like she tried to rein things in, like, no, Trump, don't imply that it's good to get the vaccine. But he doubled down, saying you will be protected if you get it. You're less likely to be hospitalized, you're less likely to die. Yes, you might still get COVID, but you're likely to have a much more mild case. All of that was true, and it was fairly clear that she did not like him saying that in an interview with her.
Yeah, she didn't hear much else after she saw him going down that road. So the response was, so Mr. Potato Head. I mean, it's one thing to, right? And
what also about masks.
Yeah, Donald J. Fauci over here is saying the same things that the arch nemesis of the conservative movement and anti-vaxxers in general are against. Hey, the people who are unvaccinated are the ones ending up in the hospital. At this point, the sickest ones, the people dying, are the ones that are unvaccinated. That's just the way it works. I remember this like let's go Brandon type guy saying the same stuff because the doctors and the experts that know about this stuff told him that same thing, which everyone already knew anyway. So maybe Donald Trump can tell his former advisors, maybe he can tell Ron Johnson. I think he's one of them that said it as well. So what's the whole point of vaccines if people are still getting COVID?
Yeah.
Talk to your boy, he's got the answer because he finally figured it out. But the ironic part is the only reason he figured it out is because he damn near died from it. That's when it takes something for him to finally realize how this whole thing works. He's like, well, you see, I almost died when the vaccines weren't available. But now that I got it, I feel a little bit better because I definitely don't want to die. And since I was 5 minutes from death, I don't want to feel that again either. That's how many people who think this way work. They're like, once it affects me, oh, it's on and popping. Now, the thing, let's not forget, there was one part about that, as you pointed out, not even one part, but there's multiple parts about that were still very Donald Trumpian. Which was, I had no idea Donald Trump was standing in labs with long white coats on, looking inside a microscope and testing whether or not this combination of a process works, man. Because he developed 3 vaccines. He developed 3 vaccines very quickly. I mean, he was his ass off. He was in the lab, man. It was crazy, man. They kept trying to stop me, and I was like, no, I'm gonna work all night on this vaccine.
That dude was just like, for a solid 6 months, he was goggles and beakers and little drippy things. That's what his life was, libs. Just get over it. That's what it was. Yeah, so that's obviously
like a train of a bunch of tubes in his office, and then he had a constant background music of ding 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 ding.
Drip drip drip. If there were a series of tubes in his office, then there were definitely hamsters crawling around, and that's the only way I can see that happening. Anyway, so look, obviously it's a joke. Again, as we've said, the vaccines were developed in part, some of them, not all, with money that came from the government. Again, some, not all of the money came from the government, and literally anyone who had been president was going to give that money. So it's ridiculous that he wants to claim credit. But Sure, he was president. And I also think that's another reason that he's willing to acknowledge that vaccines are real. One, he went through the experience. I think more importantly, he wants credit for it. And they weirdly want to give him credit for the thing that they then spend 99% of their time saying is probably gonna kill you. And she continued with that. So look, she's gonna have to respond to this because the issue isn't that he doesn't agree with her on some things. He does agree with her on some things. She tried to take the whole thing back to mandates, and he was perfectly willing to play ball on that, saying that mandates shouldn't be required and all of that. But the issue with that is that even when he agrees on mandates, that is not good enough. That he did undercut basically everything she and the other grifters are saying because they don't like the mandates, that's true, but they go way further than that. They say you shouldn't have to take the vaccine. And sometimes they'll cloak it in the vague liberty stuff or whatever, but generally they want something more compelling than that, which is it's bad for you, it will kill you. That's what Tucker Carlson has been alluding to for literally months. But if you accept what Donald Trump says there, which is it's good, it'll protect you, sure, you don't have to take it. But if there's no good reason not to, then their position looks stupid, which it is. And that makes her look terrible. And so she has to scramble to salvage her grift. And so she's gonna do that. She went on Instagram Live and here's what she had to say.
Are good, and he believes that because he comes from a generation, like people you oftentimes forget like how old Trump is. He comes from a generation, I've seen other people that are older have the exact same perspective. Like they came from a time before TV, before internet, before being able to conduct their independent research, and everything that they read in a newspaper that was pitched to them, like they believed that that was a reality. And one of those things was, this push for vaccines and believing that people were going to die without vaccines. And so I believe that his support of the vaccine is genuine and it's not based in any corruption at all.
Okay, so just to continue that, she says, I don't think anything evil is going on. I think he genuinely believes that and he needs to sit down and have a conversation with someone, a larger conversation with someone to really understand what's going on and why so many people are just horrified. Like that is true of virtually every position he has.
Totally.
Except she has, in this weird mirror universe, applied it to the one thing in which he agrees with the scientific consensus. He's only supporting vaccines not because they're clearly working and he knows that, but because he doesn't get his news from Breitbart or something. He doesn't go on the same 4chan threads that she does. What a stupid, first of all, it's incredibly patronizing towards him and making him out to be a child who believes dumb stuff because he doesn't go on enough fake news websites. But it's a terrible defense of her position.
100%. No, that's the thing. It's ironic that this party that fawns over this guy and everything he says, he's the smartest person alive, smartest person I've ever met in my life, strongest, most powerful, resilient guy on earth. He's never said anything wrong. And then the one time that he says something that makes some sense, you go, oh my, well, I mean, the thing is that he's just kind of crazy. He doesn't read anything. He's old. Man, he's a bit decrepit. If you think about it, his brain just might be slowing down. Like they're going straight down the same lane. Because what's more, it's the biggest, what they're showing here is that Donald Trump to them is nothing more than a vehicle to get to their own prosperity, to take people for more money, to say things on their ear. Oh, I got Donald Trump, come watch this. You guys give me more money, supply my income. And then once he says something that no longer pushes my grift, oh, well, I'm done with this guy. He's just Donald J. Trump, that former president that no one really liked. That's what we see here. And we knew that in 2015 when he first came down that escalator and every conservative and Republican said, somebody get this guy out of here. He's insane, he's crazy, and he's never gonna be president. They all said the same thing, do not forget.
Well, and let's not forget that she was one of those who had no interest in him early on. She is one of the worst in that bunch at hiding how transparent the grift is. Didn't she literally was she the one who had the website that mocked the size of his genitals? Like she was just trying, I believe she was, I could be wrong. But anyway, she was against him. But that didn't turn out to be a profitable path, so they just flipped because it's not based on anything. It's just trying to get an audience, trying to get money. And look, more power to her. She's been able to do that. She's been able to con some Republicans into believing her or thinking that she's clever or whatever. But this is the ammunition that she's coming with. Like, well, he's not bad. He's not evil. I just think he doesn't go on 4chan enough, and I think he should. Like you're right. She's sort of implying that his brain is Swiss cheese, but at the very least, like here comes the Tony says on our Twitch chat, she's definitely calling him sheep at the very least.
100%.
But here's the thing: he was the president. He doesn't have to like go to the New York Times website or Breitbart and do his does she get that there's primary sources for this stuff? That reporting is not where information comes from. It's like a distillation of it. That's not what information is. He can meet with the actual people making the vaccines. I'm not saying that he would. I don't think he's clever enough or curious enough to do that, but you could actually do that.
Well, John, he did get presidential briefings like every day. Come on.
He could have anyway. By the way, so he doesn't do his independent research like she does, which is why he doesn't do things to ward off the COVID like she does. So for instance, in that Instagram broadcast, she said she takes colloidal silver as one way to ward off the coronavirus, telling one follower she takes a teaspoon a day, or when I'm sick. Colloidal silver, quote, has no valid medical purpose and plenty of potential dangers, including organ failure, according to the Mayo Clinic. But colloidal silver's most famous side effect is argyria, a condition that turns users' skin a bluish gray color, usually permanently. So that's cool, for some cosplay or whatever. But like their whole argument is that the ones who are a little bit less crazy will say, we don't know about this vaccine, which isn't true. We know plenty about it. Some will say that it does bad things. They have no evidence of that. Some will just say we don't know, but that is completely undercut by the fact that all of their replacements for the vaccine are things that have demonstrable negative health impacts, but that doesn't stop them from taking them literally when they're not even sick yet.
This isn't even a new grift. Jim Baker, the prosperity pastor, televangelist, who's crazy. He was sued by the state of Missouri over pushing colloidal silver because of how it doesn't do anything for COVID and has the damaging effects. He was selling that, he was slinging that on his cable show like he was QVC. Like that's all they were talking about. This is early in the pandemic. This is like, late spring of 20.
Yeah.
So this isn't even a new aspect of her push. It's like, I guess I'll go back 2 years ago and go to colloidal silver again. You guys are dumb, you'll buy it, it's okay.
Yeah, it's just so pathetic. But by the way, like, there's so much in that video that we have to gloss over. But one was when her defense is, well, more people have died this year than last year. But you also say every day that it's not serious, so we shouldn't care about it. But you're acknowledging that it killed more people. It's just none of this is consistent. None of it makes sense.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.